being from the area, you know, and knowing you guys had gone to Howard and all that stuff had extra excitement for me. But then the next uh, big time that I remember beyond wondering what happened to you guys was with the Sugar with the What's Up Star,
Right.
which came out about 4 years, give or take, later.
Right.
So what was going on with you in between that time?
Oh man. So 92, 93, we get dropped. We were working on our second album. We had two beats from Grand Poobah and a guest appearance from him. And we would get ready to work, and then we got dropped. So both Ron and I stayed in D.C. And by 93, I decided it wasn't for me. So I picked up one day and I just went home. I had to go live in my mother's basement because I had nowhere else to go. We was broke. Ron stayed in D.C. for a little while, and then he ended up picking up and flying to L.A. to go mess with Shy. Because if you remember, right after us, Shy came out, and they did their thing. So they had that hit record out, and now Ron is working with them out in L.A. So I'm living in my mother's basement. Ron is in L.A. living with Darnell or one of them guys he's living with, trying to get his life together. But, you know, I can't sit in my mother's basement, so I get back to the people I know. So I connect with Harv, who lives in Queens, and Nasheem, and Kedar Massenberg, and different people I know, Jimmy Henchman. These people, I start going around them. Hey, what's up? What's going on? Da, da, da. And this is where I tell you I got the gun to my head. Ron is living in LA, so now Ron is getting new sounds. He's getting these new vibes, so he's sending me tracks, but I'm not really in love with him to write to. Like, they're not what I really want. Some of them are hot, and I'm writing to them, but some of them, So, you know, I had to get a job, so I worked, and I bought myself a drum machine. So now I can make a pattern for me to write to. And slowly but surely, sampling, buying records, and more equipment, and boom. So I finally got some beats from Ron, and I said, I'm going to go on a shopping spree. So I called Ron up. I said, I got an idea. I got some equipment. I got an idea for something. And he was like, what? I was like, I got this Barry White idea. He said, all right, cool. He put the drums under it. I took it to Jimmy. Jimmy took it to Jam Master Jay. That's how we got the Sugar record. And Kedar bought 2 more beats from us for Rakim's album, I'm Back, or Welcome Back, or one of those. I forgot what it was called. So that was our first, in 95 and 96, was our first sales. Kedar Massenberg and Jam Master Jay and Jimmy for Sugar. Yeah. That's how those songs came about. While Ron is in LA, me shopping them in New York. That's what made Ron move back to New York now, because we got placements.
Okay.
Yeah.
And with the Sugar in particular, did you guys end up getting to work with her in the studio or no?
Yeah, that was my girl. She lived right around the corner from me. We were tight. You know, she was Ron knew her from the Herbie Love Bug days.
Okay.
So this was like, oh shit, that's Ron now? Like, you know what I mean? They hadn't seen each other. And Sugar lived, Sweet Tea, remember, I'm living in my mother's house now. She lived literally 5 minutes from my mother. So we worked on the record at her house.
Oh, wow.
Well, you know, because she could do it. So by the time she got to the studio, we laid that joint down. We wrote the hook together, all of that. My man, DJ Tone Fresh, who was our DJ for Two Kings of the Cypher, he helped write the bridge for the record. He was there. So it was a family affair type of thing. You know what I mean? So, yes, we got to work with her and laid the record. I'm actually on the record. I'm on the record with her.
Yep.
So, yeah.
So do you remember mentally or whatever your thoughts were? Because the interesting parallel is like when she came out as Sweet Tea, she really didn't cuss and was more, you know, just braggadocio type of stuff. That record is a lot harder. And then from Two Kings in the Cypher, lyrically especially, she's cussing and talking about, well, you know, but it's just a lot harder than what we knew from It's Tea Time. And then you guys also had gone from more of the Afrocentric stuff to a much harder sound with that record in particular. So do you remember, was that just a natural progression? Had you just changed? Were you trying different things? Like, what was the change, do you think?
The timing. I think it was just, I mean, I'm from, I'm from the hood. So what you heard with Sugar was always me. I think we curved ourselves for Two Kings in a Cypher to try to fit an image. What you heard later on is who we are every day. That's why it was easier for us to do that. That's who I really am. Like I write like that. I write like that. I make music like that. Two Kings in a Cypher, we were boxed in. We were boxed in. I'm sorry. We were boxed in. So honestly, Two Kings in a Cypher probably more was harder for us than me and Ron becoming producers and just doing this part. Because there was no limits on us. We could just be us.
Well,
and me for writing, I could just be D.O.C. I could be Deric, and it's fine.
Well, it's interesting you say that, and I was always curious if it was just practice and doing it, or if it was more creative things. But it did seem like I enjoyed Two Kings in the Cipher, but it also wasn't like fun. When I heard some of the other stuff you were doing later, it seemed more energetic or more fun, like it was more passionate to you. So is that where you think that comes from then?
I think we were rookies. We didn't have no hip hop mentors to help us make records in the studio.
Gotcha.
So Ron was my only person that I'm looking to, and he had experience, but he wasn't a hit record maker yet. So what you heard from Two Kings in the Cipher was pretty much an experiment of us learning how to do it on our own. And, to the best of our ability. Mr. Gamble, Mr. Huff were there, but they were much older than us, and this wasn't their lane. So they couldn't give us but so much insight.
Right.
And our OGs that we really liked, back then, there was no, we were living in D.C., so there was nobody, come by the studio, come check us out. It was all our friends from Howard, and, it's hot, whatever, it's hot, whatever, keep going. Like I said, Two Kings of Cypher, it was our baby, but we were clueless on what to do. All three of us, we were clueless. So yeah, it wasn't as fun as you would hear, especially for me, Mad Rapper later on down the line, all this other stuff. We had fun because it was an experience, but it was grueling because we were trying to fit an image. We thought we had to hit certain marks. We were told how to dress, how to look. It was just not. It wasn't fun being an artist back then under the control of labels. If you were looking to express yourself the way you wanted to. Nah, we got to do this. We got to do this. Tribe is doing this. Brandon Wee is doing this. Leaders is doing this. These guys are doing this. You guys got to do this. All right, whatever you say. So yeah, that's the difference.
So then, with the Rakim, with that one, did you get to work with him in the studio at the time?
We did. The record never came out, but we did. And I ended up becoming tight with Rakim as a result of it. So we still tight to this day. We talk when we see each other. Yeah. So I didn't get to do anything else with him since then. The record never came out, but we did get to work with him. We went to the studio with him. I still have the record. I still have it, actually. It was called Let It Rain, REIGN. And but it never came out.
And what, given that later, of course, and throughout your career, you've been in with some of the best artists ever, or most acclaimed, most successful. What do you remember with the Rakim sessions that were different, or how he approached things compared to other artists you've worked with?
Well, one time I was in the studio with him. Very patient dude, very precise, knows exactly what he wants, what he hears for himself. Not a lot of fanfare, not a lot of noise, not a lot of people. It's not, it's very serene, very just, we're here to get the job done. It's not a lot of partying going on with a lot of people in there. He professional, to say the least. And, very goal driven. Like, he heard the beat, knew exactly what he wanted. He asked us, which I thought was remarkable because, we had never worked with him, what we saw, what we heard. And it wasn't far from what he heard. Like, Ron made the beat thinking album 1 or 2, Rakim. So it was just a upgraded version from something from 80 that had a little bit more of the 90s feel to it, but it was still that it was still one of those it was like one of them violent where he could just, sip the juice type of rhyme. So but yeah, that, you know, very professional dude and cool dude. You know, we kind of similar in our vibe, how we get down. We just close to the same height. You know, it was really cool. You know what I mean? He's a cool dude. Yeah, Rakim the God.
Okay. Yeah. And then another one early on that I remember was the Cold Rocker Party to MC Lyte with the remix on there.
Yes, yes.
So with that, the interesting thing is because now the industry and how things work is so different, but I wanted you to explain the significance of getting on like a remix at that time and how that helped get you, you know, more accomplished, more in the game. Because I don't think today, I think people kind of forget that that was like a big deal back in the day.
Yeah, that actually is what got us signed to Puff. So by now, by the time, you know, the Sugar record is coming out, you know, we did the Rakim stuff. I'm kind of in the mix in New York now. I'm running around. I'm having a little bit more meetings. I had a job, so I got a little money. I remember I told you I was hanging out with Harv and Nasheem and stuff. So I was still going up to Bad Boy's office because me and Puff and everybody went to school together. We all went to Howard. So I would go to Scarsdale, you know, the Scarsdale stories, but I didn't stay there. They, you know, they slept overnight. You know, you heard on war stories. I didn't do that. I was living in my mother's basement for one, and my mother wasn't having that. You got to put some money on the table every Friday. So I had to go to work. But after work, I'd go up to the studio and meet them in the studio. So I worked my way through the system, you know, carrying picket signs and helping do stuff. And I ended up making the T-shirts, all them Bad Boy T-shirts and Scullies. I ended up becoming that guy. And so simultaneously now, you know, I still got tracks. Ron is still making tracks. By now, Ron had moved to New York, back to New York. And I'm going up. He's living with his brother up in one of them, Mount Vernon, or one of them places up there. So I'm driving from Queens. We working now. Now we together. So now it's hard. Now we like, yeah, oh, that's how we got Hypnotized done. Because we together now. You know what I'm saying? We're together. And I had the idea and I said, you know, let's hook this up. So we already had the beat because it was, you know, my idea. Most of the ideas that when me and Ron got on, most of them, because now I'm running around and Ron is back in New York. So Ron could sit on that drum machine. So most of the ideas was like, Ron, let's dance. We need to do that joint. All right, I got you. You see what I'm saying? So Puff said he needed a remix. I heard one day. I was there. And I said, I think I got something. He said, yeah, play it. I popped the first beat on. Like, not bad, not bad. Second one I popped on. Cold Rocker Party came on. I need that. Make a copy. Said somebody. He said, I need that. Said, make copies. Next thing I know, about 6 hours later, calls me and says, Missy, they love it. And how much I want for it. I call Ron. Oh, shit. Puff about to buy a beat from us. And that was that. That's how it got started. And after he bought the beat from us and we did the remix, he came back to us and said, you know, what do we think about getting down with him?
Be sure to check out the History of Gangster Rap by Soren Baker. He's official.
History of Gangster Rap features exclusive interviews with Ice-T, Snoop Dogg, MC Ren, the D.O.C, and dozens of others. The History of Gangster Rap, a definitive look at how Los Angeles changed rap forever.
In Los Angeles, the streets definitely set the tone of the hip-hop music.
At 19, I got a $50,000 car.
My whole angle always was, I'll be street, but I will always tell you the horrors that go along with this life.
There will be penalties and casualties for just wearing the wrong color in somebody's neighborhood.
And once gangster rap made it from the streets to the TV, the genre exploded.
With Fab 5 on Yo MTV Raps with NWA.
Yo MTV, it just catapulted us from being local heroes to national gangbang rappers.
The History of Gangster Rap discusses it all from 1980 up till today.
It's always gonna be shit happening in the streets. You know what I mean? So it's always gonna be something to talk about.
The History of Gangster Rap in stores now.